Would Jimmy like any of these? Scroll through those pictures. I don't know what teams he likes.
Yeah.
But Rachel will give me those for free.
No, she won't.
Or real cheap.
No, she won't. They're $120 a piece. Not going to give you anything for free.
She'll give me a hell of a deal.
No, she won't.
None that he would like.
No. I mean, sure, but no.
Basketball's not his big thing, is it?
No, football is. So, you guys, speaking of football, it's the superb owl today. I'm sure that's just a coincidence, right? Superb owl. It's not like it's superb, rat or something like that. It just happens to work out that it is not the Super Brett, the Super Bowl, the superb owl. Sure. I mean, what does bowl mean? How did it become the Super Bowl? Good morning, home fizzle. Out the bizzle for shizzle. Off the dizzle and the rizzle with the hizzle and the kizzle. The jizzle. Who is the drizzle? Hey, Nick. Who is the drizzle? There's only one response to that, you dumb kid. Who's the drizzle, baby?
You're the drizzle, baby.
I am the drizzle.
I can't say that. You're the drizzle.
Do I like any metal music? Yeah. I like all sorts of music.
I like it more than he does.
Yeah. I mean, I it's kind of fascinating to me. Like, that they created this genre geared towards white people that's just nothing but aggression and anger and angst. I mean, unless you literally read the words, you're not going to know what they're saying. So, you might pick up a few things, but at the same time, shit like One is one of the greatest songs ever written. I would put that in the top 10 all time. Learning Lamb of God. Metallica. Yeah, Metallica's good. I mean, it's...
Old Metallica's good.
Oh, all Metallica's good. They progressed as musicians and made great songs. They're not going to sound the same.
They wanted to get on the radio.
And if they... No, they were on the radio. You say stupid shit, but they were on the radio. And why wouldn't a musician want to get on the radio? Sure, you want to just like... And you can only do that for so long before you have to have some more elements to it. And as far as musicians go, they progressed. They King Nothing's a great song. The only person who hasn't progressed is Lars. Lars,
fuck is right.
Lars is I don't know. I always love the idea of like these guys were tough guys, right? The only one who could maybe be considered a tough guy is James. Lars is like I'd scrape Lars off my shoe. He's a little bitty nothing, but he's super talented and he's hard to watch. It's fucking weird, but yeah, Kirk's gay. Jason Newsted, like, he just seems like the dorky kid who, like, wore his trench coat and went home and practiced his Metallica songs and then happened to luck into the greatest gig ever and then acted like he didn't luck into the greatest gig ever. It's crazy, but Kirk's gay. Yeah. With his eyeliner. Like, you're not a masculine macho dude standing in the mirror like, Oh, I messed it up. Okay. I'm glad you're reading the chat. And I'm always upbeat. And I read the chat most of the times. As soon as it starts getting bombarded with trash, what's the point? And, you know, I don't mind taking the break and talking about other things at times. But of course, it's always going to bring me back, right? It's always going to bring me back. I'm always going to look at like, how do you think Metallica got signed? You think Metallica was really driving around in vans, going all up and down the East Coast, booking gigs at like, you know, I mean, we really do sort of overlook that aspect of things. Like how incredibly difficult it had to be to do that. Pre-cell phones. I mean, I was a salesman pre-cell phone, right? And if you've never had to use the Williams book, my book, the Williams Roadmaps book, you're lucky, because you buy one of those, and 6 months later, it's not accurate anymore. They've added, they've taken away. It's crazy. But to think about, like, you just finished up your gigs in say, Redford, Michigan, and now you've got to go to, Chicago or Illinois or, Iowa or something. Like, just thinking how to do that. Only fairgrounds. I mean, even that, to think about, like, so somehow you figure out who the organizer of the thing is, the person you have to talk to. I don't know how many phone calls that's going to take you. But if you're not at home, then you're stuck using a payphone or the hotel phone, in which it's going to cost you a shit ton of money. But then the fairground person is probably going to be, wow, we happen to be watching Austin Powers today. Well, that's not mini-me. They all look alike to me. Sorry. But you think like they're getting all these gigs sight unseen, and they're building up an audience, and I mean, it just shows you that the music industry has always been a sham. It's always been a trick. The whole dream of getting in your car and going and building your audience, and it's a fake. It's not real. The biggest bands you've ever heard of didn't do that. They just sort of were. And the other thing that we forget to look at is so many of these these bands, they're teenagers when they first taste success. So, they literally, like, graduated high school last year, the year before, and they're somehow going around and I mean, it's just stupid. I think it's funny. Like, the music I make is for people my age, because nobody does. And I mean, how could a 20-something-year-old, a 19-year-old make songs for a 46-year-old man? What do we have in common? I remember the things you like to do. But it's like, it's just crazy. Sometimes better to ignore the same right, it's just dumb. Look at they come into just, it's about attention or some shit. But, like, again, I always wonder, like, how did that get to be so specific in the white community that the music is so offensive? I mean, whether you like it or not, you have to be honest about it. You're not going to play Lamb of God or, Battery or something like that. You're not going to play these songs for your grandmother and she's going to be like, oh, these are good. I mean, unless your grandmother was certain type. But why is white music so angry? You know, it's like these are the kids that you know had the opportunities. Lars's parents were rich, and I mean it's such a strange reality that it became that way. And then, you know, the Megadeth guy, what's his name? He sucks. Man. I mean, I get that you can't make reasonable arguments. No, thank you. Like again, are you trying to say that anger and angst isn't the drive behind most of that rock music, that heavy metal music? It's anger. Passion, whatever, but it's anger. It's aggression. You know, you know that song, More Than Words, and all you do to make it real. And what did I have to say that you love me? 'Cause I know really know. Those guys, can you imagine if you bought that album? You know how many people bought those guys' album because of that song? And they were like, what the fuck is this? They're called Extreme. That's what they called themselves. Extreme. You know why? Because their shit was hard. But then they would do this ballad to make the money. No doubt. I would. No. I would take Corpse Grinder or any other hardcore metal. It's a front. They are super chill. Exactly. Did you hear that? I'm thinking about going under the Voice next year when they do the tryouts. They might be super chill people, but their music is fucking anger and angst and aggression. Nobody, you know, you don't ride around listening to that stuff like I'm getting ready for bed. I need to put on some heavy metal. That's the shit that gets you going. I'm about to go get in a fight. I'm about to go raise some cane. You just have to wonder, where does it come from? Where does such aggression and anger come from? Because it's not accepted if black people do it. You know, Living Color, like that's the you know, culture personality, and that's a terrible song. Hate that fucking song. And then CM Punk's gonna take it to the next level. Greg, it's probably the worst genre ever. I mean, you know, it's strange to me that it's considered music. A lot of times, stuff like that, especially when you're talking like, I can't even do it. I used to be able to do a good one. Ready? No, I can't do it anymore. My throat doesn't do it anymore. Oh, hurts. Oh. Ooh. Yeah. Nice guttural. I used to be able to do it a lot better. Just like I used to be able to scream. You guys want to hear me scream?
No.
That's as loud as I can scream. Isn't that nuts? Like if some fucking killer, you know, some sick Criminal Minds killer was like, got off on people screaming and they were like, all right, scream. And, it's the best I can do. My wife loves grindcore and I hate it.
What?
I don't even know. Like there's so many different genres of crazy music. There's this I saw this. I can't even remember what the name of the band is. But it's this group that is like just a mix of so many things, and the lead singer is this little girl, and she's cute. She's got her little bob haircut and she can sing, and then suddenly she just it's just the craziest shit, man. It's yep, that's what it is. It has nothing to do with age. Gotcha. Or not using those vocal cords. Gotcha. I just don't, again, like I don't that kind of music has its place, but that's not what I want to sit around and listen to. Like I don't want my levels to be what that kind of music brings out. Like again, when I hear that kind of music, it's in a certain situation. It's in a, you know, it's an it's like I wouldn't do a bunch of cocaine trying to go to bed. And that's what that music is like, musical cocaine. And I would imagine if whoever you are, you live your everyday life where that's all you listen to is that kind of that seems like there's something else going on there. There's a ticking time bomb in there. And I mean I don't understand why anybody, like, it's crazy to be like how race dictates so much. But like I've always been, I like everything. There are times when I listen to jazz. There are times when even a country song, like if I'm out working, like in the yard or something like that, doing some shitty labor job, having grown up in construction jobs and with white people all around me my whole life, I sort of associate those two things together. I don't mind listening to certain. I hate like the country my wife likes. That fake. Look, I'm a cowboy. I got cowboy boots. I'm from Chicago. I'm a cowboy. Again, Garth Brooks and shit. I can't stand that kind of stuff.
Like,
But like, I mean, they look so silly to me. I can't understand why that would
sexy?
be.
Did you say sexy?
Yeah, I think you're like the reality that would be sexy is silly to me. I got my tight jeans, my flannel shirt all tucked in. I got my goofy hat. Howdy, ma'am.
The reason it's well,
You like my boots? They make me look taller. You like that? I'm taller than I normally am because I got my boots on.
So a real cowboy, the cowboy boots are just perfect. If they are a real cowboy, then
They're not.
They're fucking strong as fuck.
But they're not. Most of them aren't.
Farm.
Most
So
cowboys aren't real
that
cowboys.
makes their butt look really good in jeans because they're so in shape.
Why do we think butts look good?
I
Think
don't-
about how weird that is.
It is.
Hey, the place where the waste comes out, the poop. Yeah, that's a good part right there. That's a nice part. Let's be like you looking at the tailpipe on your car and being like, look at that tailpipe. Look at that. That's fucking. But people do. People put the chrome on their tailpipes and shit. Just fucking crazy. Deathlock. Math rock is amazing, like the number 12. 3-0 is a magic number. Yeah, it is. It's a magic number. Somewhere in that ancient mystic trinity, you get 3. It's a magic number. It takes 3 legs to make a tripod or to make a table stand. Yeah. Takes 3 wheels to make a vehicle called a tricycle. And every triangle has 3 corners. Every triangle has 3 sides. No more, no less. You don't have to guess that it's 3. Can't you see? It's the magic number. A man and a woman had a little baby. But I like everything. I like everything. And I wish there was more. Like it's really crazy when you start looking at how it all plays out, right? Like here in Michigan, probably my generation's most influential radio station is 89X. 89X is the new rock alternative. The thing about 89X is 89X would play Eminem songs. 89X would play Kid Rock songs. Now you could say it's because they're from Michigan and, showing Michigan love. But I don't think that's it. They play Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys aren't from Michigan. They play rap songs, but only when it's white guys. It's just like you'll never ever hear the Beastie Boys on a black radio station. Very rarely do you hear, Eminem, let alone Kid Rock. You're not going to hear those guys on the black radio stations. And it's crazy how that works, I always thought, wouldn't it be nice to just make a radio station that like I would listen to? So sometimes I feel like listening to hip hop. Sometimes I feel like listening to good heroin music. Heroin music's the best to me. Matt the Visionary, what's going on, man? Are you scared to fight? Yes. I'm going to go outside right now because there's somebody outside that wants to fight me. We even have somebody mad today because we're talking about music. Must be a dumb J. Must be a dumb J. Talking like they're tough, hey. In my comment feed all day. It must be a dumb J. Oh, fucking silly. Fucking silly. Anyway, what's going on, Matt? It's like a lot of popular music that the Target demo we like. Again, it's just racist. There's plenty of music from Guy Williams. Dude, if you want more music from me, that's asking a shit ton, isn't it? You can go get a download of over 100 songs. 100 fucking songs at least. It would take you, I don't even know how long it would take you to actually listen to all that. If you listen to it straight, it's like 3 days straight worth of music. And yes, we do need more. No doubt. But go get your free download. www.bilderberg.group.com. You can listen for free. You can download for free. All we ask is that you share it with someone. If you need it, if you need to, go look at the description of either this video when it's done or the previous videos and you'll get the link. But like, I don't know what to do. Like, for me, it was nobody's making music that I want to hear. Sure, there's stuff that's good in the mix, but it's not like it's not what I would want. And I want my music to make me think, to make me feel. It's funny to think like how many major big time hits, you have no idea what the fuck those songs are about. More than likely they're about heroin. Anytime you have a song where the person is talking about being in love or some sort of relationship, but they're not specific about her or, or him or whatever, but they're talking about heroin. And there's so much heroin, like, so much heroin references in music and all that people just don't get. You know, three days grace, 3 doors down. These are just symbols. But like again, you think about I think about music like I think about everything, right? Everything is golden brown, texture like sun, lays me down, with my mind she runs, throughout the night, never a fight.
Come on, cat, get out of there.
Great song. None of us would know it if not for Snatch, right? But you know, we have to understand that it's a weapon that's been used against us, unfortunately. Unfortunately, music is a weapon. It's been weaponized. And you know, God-seeking atheist, that's a great name. That sounds like a fucking heavy metal band name. Welcome, God-seeking atheist. But again, like it's interesting when you understand the whole concept of, and maybe it ruins it for you. It ruined it for me, I guess. You know, I grew up a huge fan of the Doors. I almost got a Doors tattoo at one point, and thankfully my friend made fun of me for it, because I'm really glad he did, because now I'd have a fucking Doors tattoo on my body, right? But the more you look into shit, I don't know. It's like it just depends how much you want the truth. You know, you can't sit there and keep thinking the truth is only going to affect the things you don't like. Eventually, you start getting into the stuff you do like, and then that's your real test. That's when you really know whether you're a truther or not. Whether you want to, you know, you're going to call out the things you like as much as you call out the things that you don't like. And, you know, when you realize that Jim Morrison's dad is was the admiral on the ship that was used in the Gulf of Tonkin false flag. And you know, go watch the movie. I used to, when I was in high school, when I was in my college, my party days, my teenage years, getting fucked up and watching the Doors movie was everything. For a long time there, I felt like the spirit of Jim Morrison leapt out of the movie and leapt into me when the Indian, you know, when the spirit leaves and goes somewhere else. I was on 4 hits of really strong acid, and I watched that movie, and I was like, you know, whoa. And that's actually when I started writing. I didn't write my whole life. I started writing after that. So who knows? But when you watch the movie, it's like, you know, Jim's a student at UCLA, Berkeley. That's not cheap. How was he a student if he was, you know, if he's this poor, poor guy living up on Trick's rooftop and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a manufactured narrative. You know, they go from, hey, Jim, let's get together and make a band and make $1 million, to, you know, 6 months later, they're playing the Whiskey. They're playing the biggest events, the biggest gigs in town. And they're so green that Jim keeps his back to the audience because he's so insecure. And yet these people are playing the Whiskey. And it takes, like, it requires you to think a little bit more, right? If you think about it, like, morphine sucks. If you think about it, like, you know, all these bands late 60s bands that are anti-government, anti-establishment. Yeah, they're signing lucrative record contracts. Who is offering them a lucrative record contract knowing that they're trying to, you know, overthrow the government with their music, overthrow the establishment with their music? It's like you've never bothered to think about that. Ahmed, what's his name? Oh, that's what we should look up.
You should roll one first.
You should bite me first. Said you should bite me first. ATLAN Atlantic Records. Atlantic Records. Okay. Atlantic Recording Corporation, simply known as Atlantic Records, is an American record label founded in October 1947 by Ahmet Ertgun and Herb Abramson. Okay, so let's look up Ahmet. Good old Ahmet. Was a Turkish American businessman, songwriter, record executive, and philanthropist. Oh, this guy's a Turk. Makes you wonder, how would a Turk...
Damn Turks.
Right, how would that happen? How would this guy override the Hollywoodism system? Co-founder background. His grandfather was the last sheikh of the Uzqatar Oblast. Blah, blah, blah. He was the second son of Turkish ambassador. Well, there you go. How did he get to be where he was? He's the son of an ambassador. And by ambassador, we're talking about people whose, like, their whole life is service to the government. Everything they do is said to represent, whatever country they are the ambassador for. So to think, like, what sort of narrative this kid grew up in, being the son of this, that, and the other, it's interesting. His mother was an accomplished musician who played keyboard and stringed instruments. Well, there you go. Okay, so that's the Turk. What about Herb Abramson? Wow. Look at this one. Look at this. So Ahmet has this big long page. Herb Charles Abramson, November 16th, 1916, November 9th, 1999, was an American record executive, record producer, and co-founder of Atlantic Records. That's it. That's all we get. Life and career.
Entitlement payments are the payments that we give to the Native Americans, right? And to the Holocaust survivor, like entitlement payments to people without Social Security numbers. That would constitute the right?
I don't know.
Am I correct?
I don't know.
Because Elon uncovered $100 billion a year in entitlement payments being sent to people without Social Security numbers or even temporary ID numbers. So
even if that's the case, why is that the case?
If it's the Native Americans, then fuck off. Quit paying Israel $3.8 billion. We don't have to worry about the people whose land we stole.
There you go. I mean, but that's the real thing. You're starting to say the right things. Because at the end of the day,
if that's not what it includes, then what are entitlement?
Whatever it is, understand that 3.8 billion on top of all the, like 3.8 billion is just the cash that we
right?
That we flood into Israel.
But that's what he's talking about, cash.
Right, but then there's the Abraham Accords, which probably cost us another couple billion dollars in all the money that we have to pay out to the different countries so that they play nice with Israel. But here, listen to this. So now we go to life and career. So this guy must not be as interesting or something, because Abramson was born in 1916 to a J family in Brooklyn. I mean, do you know how? Like, I was actually shocked that Ahmet was Turkish. I didn't think that. I was like, oh no, maybe my argument's gonna be gone. Atlantic Records is gonna be founded by non-Jays and blah blah blah.
Okay, so entitlement payments are Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, and unemployment.
I mean,
It's not.
you know how many of those go to like government officials that shouldn't be getting them?
They said they found 100 billion that are going
100 billion. They found $100 billion. Shut the
people
fuck up.
without Social Security numbers.
Do you know how
That means they're
stupid
not
that is?
citizens.
$100 billion. That's not something that you can comprehend.
Is that like diplomats?
You can't comprehend $100 billion.
How do you get Social Security, disability, or SSI for it without having a Social Security number? How does that happen? You can't apply for it. You have to have a tax ID number or a Social Security number. So how do they get it? That makes no sense. That's just
And are those people going to be exposed? Are we going to find out who all those people were?
More importantly, who approved them?
Just as importantly, because I'm sure those we're going to find that it's not poor people. It's not going to be nobodies. Like she said, how do these nobodies get money without having any sort of... Unless you're poor, you don't get it.
If you fill out an application and don't fill that part out, you're going to get a notification saying we received your application, but we still need more information in order for us to process it. And first and foremost, it's going to be your Social Security or tax ID number.
I think a lot of people that aren't poor seem to think being poor is a lot easier than it is.
It's not.
You know, like people will be like, "Oh, she keeps having babies so she can get more money on with her, more food stamps or whatever." Food stamps aren't shit.
Does not cover the cost of having a baby. And they fucking stop it at willy-nilly at any time for stupid shit. And then you have to go through process all over again. And if you have a bunch of kids, that's a logistical nightmare.
Well, and it's just like all the people that talk shit to me. It's like I can't imagine how anybody ever, screws the government. Honestly, it's a nightmare.
Like a hawk.
Right? It's a fucking nightmare. when you're literally in need and there is no funny business going on, it's a nightmare. So I can't imagine how anybody tricks the government.
How he does it and has been doing it, I have no idea. He gets food stamps. He has Medicaid. He gets like $1,600 in food stamps because he claims the other two boys too that don't even live with him. How he doesn't get caught, I don't fucking know. It's been years.
But I mean, it's like our system is the system that wants to give Israel all the money and all the everything that they want, and and then at the same time, the citizens, like I've always said, like there are companies out there that will help you with, let's say you get behind on something, because most people aren't paying bills or don't have insurance or whatever, not because they're like, haha, I have so much money, I'm just not going to pay this because I'm a douche. It's because they're in a bad spot. But those companies that will like help you with your shit, they won't help. You can't call them and be like, hey, I got behind. I'm like 150 down. Can you help me with this, and then I'll be good. I won't need your help. I just I don't want to build anything up.
Michigan has the SERS program. It's the State Emergency Relief System.
But
and that's their job.
But they don't do that. They don't help you if you're down.
No.
You have to be $600, $700, $800 down. All the stress that goes with it, all the marks that come against you, all the everything, and then they'll pay. Like, why would they rather pay an $800 bill than a $100 bill?
Okay, so then SERS, because it's a government-funded program, what happens is They so you have to have the shut off notice. They will not accept your application till you have a shut off notice. Your shit's about to be shut off in a day or so. You send it in to them. They look at it. They review it. If they deem that you don't make enough money to have been able to keep up on this bill, or maybe have enough saved to cover a bigger bill, then they go to DTE or whoever and negotiate a settlement.
Right, because they
They
can do that.
they
We
end up
can't do that.
paying like 30 cents on the dollar.
Right, we can't do
They
that.
pay the bill, tell us they've paid the bill in full, and then you don't get shut off. But they don't even pay the full amount. But you have to wait till the you know last pitch in the ninth inning where you're fucking on pins and needles about to have a heart attack before they even move.
And that's if they decide to do it. Because once if they don't decide, then they're like, sorry, now you're just fucked. So I waited all this time, and you told me to let it get to the shutoff notice
Now
stage.
you can't call DTE and say I want to settle at 30 cents on the dollar.
No.
They're gonna laugh at you.
All right. Abramson was born 1916 to a J family in Brooklyn. He studied to be a dentist, but got a job working for Al Green at National Records, producing Clyde McPhatter, the Ravens, Billy Eckstein, and Joe Turner. So he studied to be a dentist, but he just got a job at the record company as a big time producer.
He's also a barber on the side, out of his basement.
He founded Jubilee Records in 1946, Jubilee, with Jerry Blaine, intending to record jazz, R&B, and gospel music. Blaine was having some success recording J novelty songs, but this genre did not interest Abramson. So he sold his interest in Jubilee to Blaine. Abramson and his wife, Miriam, were close friends with jazz fan Ahmet Ertegun, who recognized Abramson's talent. He approached Abramson with a label proposal, and they founded Atlantic Records in 1947, with Abramson president and Ertegun vice president. Both handled the creative end of the business, and Miriam handled the economics. In 1953, Abramson was drafted. He was born in 1916. So, if it was 1956, that would be 30 years. So, this is another one of these Jays that was supposedly drafted after they were 30? How much you guys want to bet that he quickly rose in the ranks and was given the Star of Valor or some kind of bullshit? What do you want to think? Okay. Jerry Wexler filled in and joined Atlantic as a partner, though Abramson retained the title of president. When Abramson returned from the Army in 1955, he found Atlantic a changed company. 2 years later, he was just drafted and was just yada yada for 2 years in the Army. Ertegun's brother, Nisuhai, joined Atlantic in 1955 as a partner and was enjoying great success in selling jazz albums. Ertegun and Wexler were recording R&B hits, which crossed over into pop. His failing marriage to Miriam would end in divorce. Abramson returned home from Germany with a pregnant girlfriend who became his second wife. Sounds like he was an asshole. Ahmet Ertegun and Abramson formed Atco Records in 1955 as a division of Atlantic. Abramson ran the label on his own. He found success with the Coasters, but was unable to get a hit with Bobby Darin. When he announced that he was dropping Darin from the label, Ertegun recorded 3 tracks with Darin, and 2 of them turned into hits: Queen of the Hop and Splish Splash. I want to read the lyrics to Splish Splash. guess I can't until after the fact. It was written with DJ Murray Kaufman, who bet that Darren could not write a song that began with the words "Splish Splash, I was taking a bath," and suggested by Murray's mother, Jean Kaufman. The song was credited to Darren and Jean Murray, a combination of their names, to avoid any hint of payola. It was Darren's first hit song, and it helped to give him a major boost. Sounds terrible. Abramson left Atlantic Records in December 1958, selling his stake in the company to his ex-wife Miriam Bienstock, who married music publisher Freddie Bienstock. So he comes back from he's drafted in 53, comes back in 55. And by 58, he has divorced both him and his wife. They got a divorce, and both he and his wife are now remarried. And now he's selling his stake in the company to his ex-wife. I mean, this is the nepotism. Ahmet became president of the company. Abramson started new labels, including Triumph, Blaze, and Festival. His most successful post-Atlantic recording was producing High Heel Sneakers by Tommy Tucker, released on Checker Records. Still able to compete in the industry as an independent label. Abramson developed a method of cutting concentric grooves for a record so a different recording could be heard depending on which groove the tone arm landed on. The process was used on a series of magic records that Abramson produced, which were marketed for children. After leaving Atlantic, Abramson sold the patent to Mattel, which used the process to develop the Chatty Cathy talking doll. He just developed it. Yeah. You know, the point is, I mean, I'm foolish for deviating from the set course of the video as always. But it shows you that it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't matter what we're talking about. It's like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever. It's like the 3 degrees of the Jays. For them to make up 2% of the United States population, 0.183% of the world's population, that just doesn't make, that don't make no sense. Right? It's fucking silly. How is that possible? How are they able to if there's not a conspiracy, again, it's either, like, it's funny because they force you into saying these things and you don't even realize it. So it's either there's an absolute conspiracy of which they brag about in movies like Hollywoodism, or they're just better, smarter, more capable, harder work. They're just better than us. Because not only were they able to achieve so much, they were able to achieve so much while being the most persecuted people in all of the land. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? You know what? I'm going to reset because it just doesn't feel right today. So I'm going to reset. Hopefully you come back. Don't forget to get your free download.